Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. So guys, it was okay day today. It was not really, wouldn't call it like crazy good day. There was few losers. One of my trades was kind of choppy at the open, but overall, we were able to get by. Didn't lose much. We won few trades, had some midday scalps. So, anyways, we'll start all that. We'll talk about all that. We'll discuss few things we have to discuss. But before I do that, quick introduction to anybody who's new to this, new to my channel, new to my Twitter, or who is new to my community. These are the trade recaps and teachings from the trades I take or trades I do not take, but all the trades from my community or anything I share on Twitter. And we try to see where did we make money, where did we lose money, and we always do is a repeatable setups. We have repeatable setups, repeatable system that I teach, that we play day in day out. If the setup shows up, we play it. If setup does not, we do not, and we change our bias according to our system. Our system tells us bullish, we stay bullish. Our system tells us it's bearish, we go bearish. Every day, a few hours before the market open, me and my team, we go through all the new sources, upgrades, downgrades, earnings, everything. We go through it and we may come up with a game plan for the day, which tells us what pivots will be, which pivots tell us we will be bearish or bullish, and we make a kind of a general game plan. We have a general bias, and then we change accordingly what market gives us during the day. There was not many news plays today. Not many A plus, I would say, but there was LUV, AAL, Delta Airlines, Pfizer, Oracle, ONON, Tesla, BA, among others, and CVNA and Coin as well. So these were our news plays game plan today. Apart from the news plays, we also have what we call as our day two setups. So day two setups are the setups which had news or earnings yesterday, day before yesterday, or even 3 days prior, and we try to have some levels, support, pivot, resistance levels, and we try to watch them, what kind of trade they can give us. Today CrowdStrike was a great example of day 2 long. VKTX was a great example, day 3 long, and then Marvel was a day 3 short. There are a few examples. If it's choppy, if there's no volume, we avoid the day 2, day 3. During the day I update if I see anything good on these plays. Then we also have daily levels. We draw our daily trading levels on our marketplace that we play every day, day in, day out. We'll talk about this as well. When we look at AVGO, we'll see how that daily level helped us there, and we will discuss that as well. And that's with the introduction, guys. I will show you I'm on the voice first few hours of the market open. I do try to guide my community along with so many other smart traders who are on our trading floor about all the trades on timestamped on the floor. So we'll go one by one and see what worked, what did not, and then we'll try to learn something from that. All right, let's start with Oracle, ORCL. So let's go back and see what was our plan on Oracle before we Another thing I want to start is that Oracle was a bullish chart. That's why the gap fill setup kind of did not work. So let's see what was our plan first. Then we'll talk about that later. So Oracle stock rises above the, as company had strong cloud report. It was good earnings. Oracle had really good earnings. Support pivot was 125.80 and 127. Resistance was 131. Neutral bias, gap fill was under 126, 127. Over that it was long. So we had a plan. We had a good plan to trade it today, but it was choppy. Never kind of gave us the full trade. Let's see what my guidance was on Oracle and why it was kind of a loser at open. Then we'll talk about how it worked out later. So anyways, as soon as Oracle opens, it breaks under our pivot, right? So it breaks under the pivot, and you have seen my previous videos. We always do these gap fill trades. Mostly they work. When they don't work, we don't lose too much. So it was breaking under the pivot, and under that, and I take a short on that, and I'm looking for my 124 and 125 targets. I take a short right out of the gate, and I did say short the pops. I always say short the pops. You don't have to chase me. You have to short the pops. Anyways, we take a short. We short it at the open. It's kind of working. Initially it's working, and it pulls to 125, and then boom, a buyer shows up at 125, right? And then it swipes right back up. I had no chance of, even locking or something, because it swiped right back on me and right back $2-3, and I was losing money there on my morning trade. So I got out, right? If my system doesn't accept it, I just get out. It was getting over the 128, even though it was not, the candle kind of doesn't really the second candle doesn't really hold over it, but it was in the chop range. I couldn't trade right here. It was in the chop range. But anyways, it pushes, fails again, I hit it again, right? It pushes, it fails again, I hit the short again. And this time I hit the short at little better entry, around that 127 area. So let me see, I can show you that what was, So I hit that Oracle short again. Let's look here, let's see. So I was reshorting it, right? You can see that at 948 I reshorted it when it failed, and this time it, since it had a better entry, so it started to work. It was kind of green, right? The short started to work. It started to fade. I was even even up. I was even up on that. So it started to work, right? When I reshorted on this candle, and by 10 a.m. we were like fading down. At 10 a.m. right here, we were on the third candle, we were fading down before this next candle opened. And this time I was up like 50% on my puts. But again, there was a buyer at 125. I mentioned there's a buyer at 125. I logged a little bit, but then it held, because, look at these candles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this area was clearly being bought. And then I gave the warning that this is not going to work out. I gave the warning, and when it pushed back, I got out, right? I could have made some money on it, but I ended up not really making anything, because I had my stops break even. So when it pushed back over the clouds, I stopped out, and I had a loser on the first play, right? So I was out. After that, I don't mess with it, right? You have seen my previous trades where I lose, that I don't mess. Once I'm done with 2 trades, I don't really want to mess with it, neither long nor short. And so anyways, the point is, it didn't work, and we have these setups work many times. Now let's see what could be the reasons that it did not work. The first of all, the very big reason was there was this being bought at this 125 area, right? So this never confirmed. If this confirmed, we would have had such a good fade and such a good profits, like we always do on if you go back and see my other plays. But you can clearly see, if you had a good entries, right, you were shorting it on the pops to 129 and covering it 125, there was enough range. If I go to the 1 minute channel, 1 minute chart, that was not a bad range. If I just talk about the 1 minute chart, but I like to trade trend, right? So I want to have bigger moves, and rather than smaller moves. If I was just shorting the pops on 1 minute chart, yes, I could have scalped, I could have made, I short 500 shares here, I risk 131, and then I would have, made like little bit money, small sizes. But the point was not that, right? I was looking for a bigger trend trade, and I know a lot of people did get out of this trade successfully, unless who somebody hit the ask and he really got squeezed and got out over the top. He lost. But anyways, now we talked about the scalp. We talked about how the 10-minute was choppy, the reasoning behind it. Other reasoning I would find it the daily chart. So that usually the daily chart, if his daily chart is strong like this one is, like 52-week highs or all-time highs, it's hard for it to fade, rather than a bearish chart. And of course there was a news coming out, which we now realize that Oracle had released news about NVIDIA after hours. So certainly, a lot of parties or the big players, big whales, held this level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Some bigger institutions, bigger market makers. Because look at this volume, right? Look at these 2 volume candles. They're just crazy. So just want everyone to understand why this trade did not work. And we could have easily lost a lot of money if we sized like crazy, but I cut right away. I don't rethink when I know it's swiping back on me, right? And I rehit the short. If I didn't do the amateur move, maybe I would have gotten out like with a nice money. You can see here, right? 40-50% gain. But I I did amateur move, which is by design and which is by risk, and that did not work. My second hit worked little bit, but it was not enough, and then it went bullish. And when I covered, when I set out of the short, at that time it did push up for some point. Other thing is it's a huge float. This Oracle is a big float. Market cap is $350 billion. It's like a huge mega cap. It's trading a tight range, right? It's usually its ATR is just $3, and it did not. So we'll see. We'll keep eye on it. You know, if there is a big gap someday, if it wants to fill that gap, you know, maybe, you know, we'll do the day two. If not today, maybe tomorrow. Who knows? It's maybe tomorrow, and we short it again. And if it gets over 128.53, we long it. And if it breaks this, we short it. We'll just be careful this time, because this area has to go for us to confirm the short tomorrow. Otherwise we long it. We have a clear defined risk at this area 126 and then 125. If the dips hold, we long towards those dips. If it pushes, we long risk versus this 127, and then 130 is the breakout. And you know, there's also last all-time high around here. So yeah, so that's the plan for tomorrow. So that was the analysis of this loser. Let's go to the next one we're going to look at quickly is Tesla. So let's look at Tesla. What is the plan on Tesla? So Tesla, as you saw, there was a news in the pre-market, and we had our levels on Tesla. So in the game plan, you know, we just had the levels, and I mentioned on the voice we'll trade according to those levels, 178.50 and 180. So there were two levels. As soon as the 178.50 breaks, I missed the short entry, but I did let everybody know that you should not long it. You should do not long it. You can see right at the open, I told everybody. And after that, and I told it, you know, on the voice, that you can short scalp it. And after that, Tesla went all the way to 170.240. And then Vin comes in. He likes it short right at open. His risk is 177. When he says 177 versus, that means that's the risk. And then it fades from 177 all the way to 172. He already told everyone that there's 172 is a big support. And then you see these four candles: one candle, two candle, three candles. You know, that's bottom wicks, means there's a buyer there who is trying to hold. And that's where I told everyone that manage the short versus that do not long yet, but manage the short versus that 174. And as soon as the 174 breaks, it pushes. You could have definitely done a C minus long there when this 174 broke, like I mentioned here. You see this range breakdown. This is one of the range breakdown setups I tweet and teach again and again, how you can make a living on the range breakdowns up and down. So this was a range breakout, so remember that. Anyways, then Tesla pushed from there, and then it pushed higher over 512. That was a good long. Then it pushed to 34.50, and I said you can watch the 176 pullback or risk it if you want a long. And it did push from 176 to 179, held 512s, pushed again, pulled back, held the same support, and pushed again. You know, I did like it. I did like it because it was closing over the 10-minute candle, and I do like the consolidation that's building on daily chart. So we'll watch it tomorrow over today's highs tomorrow if we want to long it. And then there's this nice range breakout over 180 as well. So who knows, maybe, you know, Tesla is ready to make a nice big move. But this is what we are waiting for. Now if it breaks if it breaks this level, then I will not be interested, because then under 177 will be hard for me, because then it's going to fade back to 172. So we watch these two levels tomorrow. Tomorrow can be inside day as well. Pretty big candle today. So next one we are going to look is LUV, which is Southwest Airline. All the airlines were they were giving the earnings today. And let's go back and see what was our plan on the earnings. The plan on the LUV was bearish bias to short the pops, right? So that was the plan. I mean, there was a bunch of them, but I liked the LUV most. And the 30.75 was the support. And as soon as I saw that breaking, you know, the support, it was a short, right? So I told everybody, short, watch the pops. And after that, it's up to you to how to manage the trade. And you know, we bear flag into 10 a.m., break the bear flag, bounce, support becomes a resistance and fades furthermore. Nice one for small accounts, right? Even if you short it at 10 a.m. versus this area, you know, you still got like a $1 more. And you know, small, it's a small, it's not high beta stock, so it moves very slowly, and you can't really trade too far in the money options. You could have traded like 30 puts, which went from like 40 cents or 50 60 cents to $1.50, like, you know, 200%. So you can watch trade those kind of ones. So love was a good one from the pre-market. All right, the next one we're going to talk about is CrowdStrike. So CrowdStrike was our day two, right? So if you go to my watch list, the number one on my day two or day three setup, you know, it's day two, day three means everything, third, fourth, and second. You know, we follow my day two rules, which I provide to my community down here. And then we watch this resistance pivot being broken out 321.50, and you know, support was 316. I saw that as soon as I saw it breaking out, right away I told my community that we should long it. I usually avoid saying that, you know, long, because I don't like people slapping, because still there are a lot of people who join new in the community and they slap and they reduce risk reward. So I just, you know, I'm proud of my community who know, you know, because we as a community, we also act as a scanner, right, showing the ideas, what is working, what is not. So CrowdStrike was day two, right? It was you know, there's so many moving plays, but you can see, then when I saw the CrowdStrike, I told everybody is on the long watch versus the clouds, right? And it breaks out of the pivot that I gave in the pre-market, first play in the day two, day three. And then it's all about trading that. Since I told it at 956, that was right here when we were breaking out, and after that it went from 324s, and at this time your risk should be like 321 either, you know, because you can't size too big on this breakout. But regardless, if you're trading your options, you can easily get in a small size and let it work. And from the 324s, and my target that I gave everybody was 330, and then we kept moving, first flag into 326, then push more into 334s, right? 330s, my 330 target met, and then we pushed to 334s. So that was a good one, right? So you know, we met all our targets. CRWD was good. You know, so there's always setups, right? AVGO we're going to discuss next, but this was CRWD. Nice trade in the community. It's all credit to the community who executed it well. In our community, it's not about, you know, me giving alerts or anything. It's about finding the plays, working together, and I'm so proud of, you know, people that they were training today. Doc Brown, Raghava, you know, Salvatore, you know, that was very good. That really makes me proud. Next one I want to quickly discuss is AVGO. You know, AVGO, I just want to recap it. I didn't trade it, but you know, I think few people might have. But AVGO was our day two, of course, right? 1300 support, 1290. Then AVGO is our daily play. We play it every day. 1296 was a support as well, and 1312, right? So those two were our supports on AVGO. There's 1290, 1296. So initially it breaks down. I see it chopping here when market was down, and then I see it move up. And you know, I didn't touch it. I mean, I was like, you know, it's okay. We were trading NVIDIA long, but later in the day it comes back bearish and breaks this, and then what a beautiful fade, right? That was such a good trade, because look here, it rejected the 1300 psychological level. I love the 1300 psychological level shorts. I mean, I would have if I saw it in time, I would have literally nailed it and, you know, gave to my community. But I guess a lot of the communities were already trading it, and you know, Shankar was trading that 1300 rejections. Macha, Prakash, very nice. I mean, I'm just, you know, just simply amazing call outs by the traders. Cade was on top of it. Just well done there. You know, great call outs, great call outs. And this was a 1300 psychological short. Just wanted to recap. You know, as always, we can't trade all the opportunities, but when next time they hit, we stay on top of them. So next one we're going to talk about is ONON. This one was also a short which did not work. Let's go back, see the recap. ONON was down after the earnings, and its support pivot was 2750, and resistance pivot was 3112. bearish bias to short the pops. That was the plan, right? So I shorted it at the open when it was breaking down, but I clearly said 2750 has to break to confirm it, but 2750 never broke, right? So I had a starter, and I had to cut it as soon as it bounced and did not fail. So so just took a dollar loss and moved on. I was ready to add heavy if 2750 break, and I couldn't even trade it long because it was in a chop range. This range I couldn't trade it, so that's fine. We'll watch it day 2. Look at this recovery, right? So tomorrow we watch it if it pushes there into the gap, or for the day 2 we watch it under 30. So we'll watch tomorrow on day 2. So let's talk about NVIDIA. So NVIDIA did us good today, right? So let's talk about NVIDIA. So how did we trade NVIDIA? Let's first go see our levels on NVIDIA. So the levels on NVIDIA today were 882 was the resistance pivot. Means we were waiting for the resistance pivot to break out, and then that was a long, right? So we don't log the dips, but when it breaks out, that's where I like it, right? And was breaking out, we can use this risk always. It doesn't use $2-3 risk, and the risk on NVIDIA is always $5, $6, $7, $8, $10, whatever it is, but you never risk that. So anyways, when I saw the breakout happening on NVIDIA, and I was a little late to look at it, but I knew that we are going to 900. There was so much flow. If I show you, I haven't tweeted about the insane amount of flow, which we now know was because of the Oracle news that they just released, right? So there was insane amount of flow, and you can see I tweeted about that as well. Morning insane amount of flow on NVIDIA, and then I took 950 calls, which kind of moved nicely for me, and then 900 was my first target. And then there was a 900 psychological breakout. We pushed to 912, right? So 902, 910 I said I'm looking for, and it calls move descent 30%. There was enough. When it breaks 512, you always cut it. You always cut it, and then you can always add back. And they did this 3450 bounce and reclaim of the push, and then the push again. So you can always get back, right? So understand, this was our long trade. You can always get back middle of the day. And now it's gapping up because of the because of the Oracle news. Somebody always knows, and somebody always kind of leads it, institutions and all. If you see that, what I want to show you on NVIDIA is this 1 hour chart, right? So 1 hour chart was turning bullish. That's why I caught my eye in the morning. Remember our 882 level that I just showed you. So when that 882 level breaks, this becomes bullish. We know it's bullish. Now how would we trade it? And look at this pullback to the 1 hour 512 EMA cloud. So always look at 1 hour clouds as well. Just don't ignore them, because we can easily trade this 1 hour range break on things like NVIDIA, right? So my target was, resistances I gave was 928, 941. We are almost breaking out of the 928 resistance. Tomorrow we probably will hit back to the 940s, and then we'll see. Tomorrow will be fun tomorrow as well on NVIDIA. So all right guys, let's look at another one which kind of paid us today. Was Boeing. So if I look at Boeing, let's see Boeing. So Boeing was, we had a news on Boeing, right? So let's go back and look at what was our news on Boeing. So Boeing, there was a news about in New Zealand, whatever. There was a negative news on Boeing, and it's still impacting it. And then I said bearish to neutral. That was my bias. So the support was 188. So the plan was to short it under 188. As soon as the market opens, Boeing plunges, right? So Boeing plunges under that 188, and we already know the good thing about the community is we already know if somebody is trading Boeing is already in that, and it flushes right away, and it is a day too short, and you can still hit the bounces, and then it flushed more 184. My target today was actually 182, right, under that 184s, and it bounced. If I told everyone that if it gets over 512 cloud, then you close it. But look here, if it gets over 512, close it. But it never got over the 512 clouds, and it's still bearish at 12 p.m. I told everyone it's still bearish, 1148. So that was 1148, and it faded from 186 back to 183. $3 more fade just from that. You can see the timestamp comments there. Um, it was kind of a big bounce for my taste, but you can always re-short here. So anyways, the Boeing has been good for us. Let's quickly recap another play from the pre-market planning. That was Pfizer. So Pfizer was bullish to neutral. You know, I didn't take it. Support was 28.20, resistance was 28.40. I told everybody in the pre-market planning that we only long if this 28.20 holds. Under that it can fade, and that's what happened. Exactly, that's what happened, right? Fade. Either you are in the open or you trade that big flush. If I go to 1 minute candle, you can see that you know, the big flush right here was an easy short. Just if you follow the game plan pre-market, the levels was easy short. I was too focused on Oracle, otherwise I would have taken it, and you know, just like the love short. But Pfizer was good for the small account. These are the plays you need to focus on. Good thing about Pfizer was this levels were pretty clear. High lows. This is what I always prefer, right? And guys, other thing is your size has to be small, right? Because if you are losing on these plays, then either you are chasing, your size is small. Be laser focused. Tell yourself, okay, I'm only going to focus on Pfizer today. I'm only going to focus on AVGO. You trade what you like, right? I don't trade everything. I focus on 1 or 2 or 3 plays, and I lose, I do good. But yes, I have to guide everyone on all the other plays. So you take what you like, right? I mean, maybe if I focused more on Tesla, I would have made more money than focusing on Oracle. But we have always to focus on the setups which appeal to us. Sometimes they will work, sometimes they won't work. But then they won't work. That's when you don't lose too much. That is the key. Another one we're going to quickly look at is CVNA. CVNA again was our play from pre-market plan, day 2 as well. It was upgraded by Jeffries, but clearly the levels were 79 and 81.50, 81.80. So I said only long if it holds that level, and CVNA broke under the EMA clouds right at open, and it was heavy after that, and it was bearish all day. So you know, that was all day bearish. Nice. So next one we're going to talk about is VKTX. I like this name as a long-term stock, you know, and a lot of us are now swinging it, because that was the plan. That's why we were, you know, was not cutting up and down. So I told everybody. I think I messed it up somewhere. Let's see. Okay, let's see if I can VKTX. I think I put it wrongly, but let me show you. If I can show you my morning thoughts. So we still have to talk about the coin. So VKXT, yeah, long versus the lows, 931. So that's what I said, you know, long versus the lows, and it was working fine. Pushed initially to 66, pulled back and pushed again. We were nicely in money. We were nicely in $3. I did say that we are doing okay. And but then it again broke down, and I got out at that. You know, I got out at that level when it broke down, because I wanted to wait. I said, let just wait, right? I said close for now, keep an eye for later. So what happens later? It gets back over the EMA clouds. That's where you long again, and you can use the same risk level, 64 level, and you long again. And that's when, you know, this time it pushed to 67, and this time, you know, with the longs, I told everyone you can swing it, because I like the daily consolidation. If it holds here, there's a lot of room to get back up. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Could have just day traded it personally, much better, few times up and down, but my focus was kind of on swing trade. That's why I personally kind of mismanaged it. But VKTX as our one of the top day 2s was good for a lot of people in the community. All right, guys, let's look at quickly coin short. Not going to spend too much time. Coin was choppy all day. My main short was in the morning. I told everybody short starter will hit the pops. And when we shorted it, let's go back to the 3-minute chart so that we can see the morning short, how big it was, right? So short the starter. When it breaking down here, we short it. And then from that time, 254s. When it breaks 250, I added some more, and then it goes 254, 250, and then it goes 242, right? And then you cover, right? So you cover most of it because the big flush. and then it came back, right? Then it came back. Then I got out last piece, right? Because if I cover half, I have half, so I have to cut it and move on. And after that I didn't touch it because it was a choppy all day. After the morning short, it did give short opportunities later in the day. That's when we were scalping it in the community. But let's see, where was it? But it never broke down of this support level, guys. Never broke down. So there's a lot of commentary on all day on floor on coin, but luckily I saved a lot of money trying to do something here, and I told everybody that choppy action I'm staying away. But later in the day, you know, I scalped some from this breakdown right here. Tape was on it. A lot of people in the community were there, so I scalped some here. I scalped some, and then you know, but then there was a warning here to get out. 4 candles. When this thing happens, just get out. Just quick recap on few plays for Meta. So Meta was a 500 psychological midday short. You can see that 500 there. On the trading floor, I did talk about that they're selling the calls. You can see here they are selling the Meta calls versus 500, and then it's our repeatable setup that we trade in the community from 500. 512 breaks, comes back to 3450. Similar setup in the community was on the trading floor IBM when it breaks 512, and that was thanks to Michael, one of our community members. He said IBM breaking 3450. He really meant it's breaking 512s, and that's, I said, looking good for that 512 fade, easy short scalp. You know, you could scalp from that 197.50 or, you know, to the 196.20. It was an easy good scalp. Remember this golden rule, 512 and 3450. I covered it in detail in my webinar. I just want to quickly talk about China names. If you remember, I talked about them yesterday as well, and I did have those China names in our day 2 list right here, China names, and they just ripped, right? Look at PDD, and we were talking about PDD yesterday. They were gapping up, and there was also this what was it? Let's look at BIDU, right? So BIDU was again with the 103 psychological level. So these were easy day 2 setups, and you can easily capitalize if you keep eyes on these movers. And I think we can still see continuation on these. You know, BIDU chart is looking good, and then we have PDD. So there's decent room for these to move. We'll watch tomorrow as well. So I really like about PDD is this downtrend channel, and there's a lot of room on PDD if it tries to break out. So we will be watching tomorrow on PDD as well. First green day, if it really wants to move, there is still a lot of room. So okay, I'm gonna wrap up today's video by talking about SPY QQQ. So the beauty of today was we were long, and then we were short, and then we were long SPY, right? So if I show you, most of this guidance is on voice. I can't really explain, but you see, morning we were short. Why we were short? We were breaking down. This is a morning trade, good enough trade, and we always cover in 10 a.m., right? And I said log the profits, log 948. You can see log profits on the short side, and that's when it bounces. So you see, earlier we were short scalping, and that's when it bounces and says it's trying to break out. It's turning bullish. Our Ripster clouds are turning bullish, and that's where you trade long. And I told everybody scalp SPY QQQ long, scalp SPY QQQ long, and we break out here, and you can see all the price alerts coming in. This was 514 breaking out, and then there was this QQQ. You can see the price alert going in on QQQ as well, and you know, all day the breakouts longs. And you can pause the screen and see my comments, but we were all long in the community, and you know, I was just making sure that, you know, my guidance is good. But yes, everybody liked it, everybody loved the guidance, and we did good. You know, it was not a perfect day. I mean, I don't because earning season is ending, so a lot of these news plays are going to be slow, and I want a single trend. I like a single trend day. They could have been better, but it's okay. You know, and the good thing to learn from today is don't just get biased on the news. Yes, inflation came higher, and everybody thought SPY is probably going to fade. We don't do that. We don't blind ourselves with the news. We follow our system. We don't care if inflation is rising. If market doesn't care, then why should we? We follow the market. So anyways, the point is we were short with the market, and once it got over 3450, that turned bullish. Once it was a breakout, that turned bullish. You could easily trade SPY, QQQ, SPX on this guidance and could have easily made good money on those longs. And I always say, if you cannot trade options, you can trade SPXL, you can trade TQQQ, all those long scalps even for small accounts. So I'm very proud of the SPY and QQ today because we nailed it both sides, right? And all right, guys, that's it for today. If you want to learn more, educate yourself about trading repeatable systems, come join my community. Do not come for alerts. Disclaimer: only come for education and guidance. I'll try to help you. There are a lot of good traders out there. Take care. Bye bye. See ya.